So really, I think there's just 5 things to think about when buying your first perfect guitar. Here they are, but then I'll explain them in detail afterwards. So the first one is, what sort of music do you listen to? Predominantly, what sort of music do you listen to all the time? Second, how much is your budget? How much do you want to spend on your first guitar? Thirdly, do some bit of research, find some great brands that are getting good reviews online. Fourth, do you know any other guitarists out there? Do you know any sort of friends or relatives, guys that have been playing for a few years, or even teachers in your local schools? And finally, join a forum. Alright, now let's go into bigger detail. Here we go. So really, when we're talking about guitars, there really is just 3 types. There's many different variants of these 3, but it all comes down to these 3 types. So, to start with, we've got nylon string acoustic guitars. So they're acoustic because they've got a big hollow body. The sound is amplified inside when you play a string, and then jumps out through the sound hole. Now, they're very soft strings, nylon plastic strings, and they're very easy to play and soft on the fingers to begin with. It does require a little bit more pressure than, say, like an electric guitar. Chords still have a lot of depth. It's a great choice because it is quite soft on the fingers, and they can be found quite cheap, especially second-hand, because so many people, just like yourself, are looking at buying their first guitar. You know, they have this guitar for a year or 6 months or so, and then they think, okay, it's time to move on to something else, and so they sell it. So there's nothing wrong with buying a second-hand instrument. Just make sure you get it checked out so there's no neck issues or anything like that. There's a few great things about the nylon string acoustic guitar if it was going to be your first purchase. Now, because the strings are nylon, they're actually quite soft to play. Now, when I say soft to play, I mean that it's going to put less pressure and it's going to hurt your fingers a little bit less than if you were playing another style of guitar. The next guitar that we're looking at is the big steel string acoustic guitar. Again, so it's an acoustic because it's got this big hollow body and the sound resonates off the strings, goes inside, and then jumps back out through the sound hole. Great sound of some steel string acoustics, really cuts through. Great if you like sort of playing pop and cover songs, or James Taylor, Jack Johnson, any of that sort of stuff can sound really great through an acoustic guitar. Another great thing about acoustic guitars in general is they're so easy to transport. If you knew anyone else that was learning guitar as well, or maybe they've been playing a little while, or you had to travel for a lesson, you could get a cheap case you could put on, you know, on the back of you, and you'd be good to go. It's very light, but still so loud, and it doesn't need any other equipment to amplify it. Everything's within the sound. That's definitely something else to consider. Finally, the last type we've got is the electric guitar. Now, electric guitars could come in all different shapes and sizes and different sort of size necks and everything like that. If you don't have a big budget to begin with, you can just buy an electric guitar just to get it started. You can still, if you're playing single notes, you can still hear them. If you're playing big sort of chord progression, they still ring out and you can still hear them. They're still quite audible, but it's not going to be as loud, or you're not going to get as many tonal options as if you had an amp. But you can still buy a guitar first and save up for the amp. That's definitely a possibility. Now, the first point is really the most important point. If you like the sound and the tone of finger strummed and sort of finger picked pop songs, or if you like classical music, then get a nylon string guitar. It's really just that simple. If that's the sound of music that you love listening to, and you listen to a lot of that music, then buy a nylon string. However, if you love the big sort of brighter sound and you like the idea of using a pick, maybe go for a steel string acoustic. Or if you like the idea of getting different tonal options and sort of anything from clean, blues, jazz, rock, metal, then maybe the electric guitar is your choice. The electric guitar can be a little bit more expensive when you factor in the fact that you may need to purchase an amp and a lead and everything like that. But it's going to give you more tonal options than you would get from the acoustic instruments. And really, if you listen to predominantly electric guitar music, electric pop or electric rock or metal or anything like that, then definitely go for an electric guitar. And brings us to step 2. Number 2, what is your price range? Now, if you're broke and you only have a little bit of money, maybe getting a nylon string guitar is for you. 1, it's going to be easier to play on your fingers. 2, you can still play it with a pick. You don't have to play it necessarily with your fingers and it's going to sound great. For whatever sound that you're after, really. And you can find these for quite an affordable price secondhand. Again, do some research online, which we'll get to for our next point, but you can find a lot of secondhand nylon string guitars because a lot of people, just like yourself, they buy the guitar and then after a year or so they think, yeah, I'm going to upgrade and get a steel string or an electric guitar, and they put these back on the market. So you just have to find a good brand and make sure it doesn't have any neck issues, and otherwise you're fine. Can't go wrong with a secondhand nylon string. Now if you have a little bit more money to spend than say what you would on getting a secondhand nylon string, and you really, really want an acoustic guitar, a steel string, I would consider again going secondhand. I know like a lot of people want to buy their instruments first hand and wearing all little nicks and scratches, that's fine. And if you've got a little bit more money to spend than that and you really want an electric guitar, I'd spend a few $100s and just make sure that it's a decent electric guitar. And when I say decent, I mean the fact that it's going to stay in tune, the fact that the neck isn't warped in any way, the frets aren't too massive. It's not too much of a struggle to play, because unfortunately when you do buy very, very cheap electric guitars, or very cheap guitars in general, what you're going to find is it's not going to stay in tune for long, which is just going to annoy you and annoy anyone that's listening to you practice, because as your ears develop, you'll be able to tell instantly if you're out of tune. But to begin with, it can be quite a challenge to just even know that you're in tune. You're trying to play along with a song on the radio or one of your favorite classic songs that you like listening to, and it's not sounding right, and you're getting really angry with the instrument, and you throw it on the ground, you're thinking, I'm not good enough, why can't I play this? Often it's just the tuning with the guitar, it's nothing to do with you at all. Okay, next step, step number 3. Do some research online. Even just type into Google something as simple as beginner guitar, and then you'll come up with a big list of brands, and then there'll definitely be some packs in there. There'll be some nylon string packs, acoustic steel string packs, and electric packs. All those packs, they can be quite good, you just have to be careful. So, what you need to do is do a little bit of research online. Find a local music shop that's near you. Have a look at whatever price range you want to spend, look at that price range on the website, and then just do a Google search. Look for reviews, look for videos of people playing that instrument, see how it sounds. Do you like the way it sounds? Anything like that. Do a little bit of research, it'll go a long way. Okay, next step, step number 4. Do you know any other guitarists? Okay, this is a really important one as well. Do you know someone else at your school, or someone else at your work, or someone that you know through family that play the instrument well? Maybe they've been playing it for a few years. That's definitely going to help you. Ask them, do they still have their first guitar that they bought? Do they need it? Are they using it at the moment? Maybe you can borrow it for 6 months and see how you'd like the feel of the instrument while you're getting into it. Or maybe even they just have a recommendation for you. And really, this is the really important one, can they come into a music shop with you and test out some beginner guitars? Often when you go into music shops, just like any other stores, like a car dealership, anything like that, sometimes you can get employees that just want to sell you, you walk in and you're customer A and they need to sell B product to you. It's really that simple. Regardless of who you are, they have products that they need to sell so that they get paid, so they're going to sell them to you. Sometimes it can be as black and white, and it can be as horrible as that, really. So if you bring in another guitarist that knows what they're talking about, that knows that, hey, that's not a hunk of crap guitar, that's going to stay in tune and that's alright, that's definitely going to be a help for you. If you don't know any other guitarists, or really if you know any other guitarists, this is a good step as well. Step 5, here we go. Now this final step, step 5, is almost as important as the first 2. It's almost as important as what music do you like and how much do you have to spend on your first guitar. It's so important because when you join a forum, you meet people that are going to be going through exactly the same thing as you, or they've been through the same thing as you. I guarantee it. So if you're a beginner, go on there, sign up, say hello, introduce yourself, and just ask questions. So many people are going to want to help you because they would have gone through exactly the same thing as you, and they could offer advice that they maybe wish that people would have given them. And it's a circle. Then if you see beginners, that are starting out that have the same questions that you asked, then eventually you help them as well. It just goes around and around and around and around. Joining a forum can really help your music. It can help you learning everything about any particular aspect of music, whether it's theory, whether it's playing your instrument, whether it's about gear, repair, maintenance. There's bound to be people on each particular forum that you look at that are going to know something in those particular areas. Maybe even, like me, you'll get lucky and you'll meet builders in your local area, and then you'll get amps and guitars built, anything like that. Anything is possible. There's just so much information in forums, and it's all free. Just be polite, introduce yourself, ask questions, and you'd be surprised the amount of people that can help you. Here's some of my favorite forums. And that's it, guys, and I really think that these 5 steps will help anyone out there in order to buy the perfect guitar when you're first starting out, the perfect beginner guitar. These 5 steps, they're so easy to remember. What style of music do you like? 2, how much money do you have to spend? Do some research online, it's easy. Do you know any other guitarists that can help you in your first purchase? And finally, join a forum. Really, if you just take those 5 steps out and think about them slowly, you'll get a great guitar and you won't come back, excited to begin with and then realize shortly after, I wish I would have put more thought into buying this. It just takes a little bit of thought, anyone can do it. All right, see you later, guys. If you liked the video, please like it. If you want to subscribe, click the button below and check out these other videos. Okay, bye.